California lawmakers are now considering a mileage tax to replace the gas tax. Joining us right now, UC San Diego professor Dr. Lawrence Frank to explain exactly what this could look like. Professor, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
We've heard rumblings about this over the last few years. Tell us more about this proposal and exactly how would it work?
So thank you. A mileage tax is a user fee based on distance driven. Currently, we assess our road use is based largely on gas tax, but we have a very large share, as we all know, of electric vehicle drivers. So a gas tax really unfairly, one way to look at it, is it disproportionately burdens those who drive petroleum-powered vehicles. People that are driving EVs are not paying one of the primary sources of funding for our transportation system, and noting that electric vehicles actually weigh a lot and actually cause a lot of damage to roads. So one way to equitably, the most fairest way to equitably charge people for the use of roads is based on how much they drive, how far they drive. So this is a consideration that Assembly Bill 1421 will take into account and evaluate. It's just a proposal to look at some sources. Currently, with declining revenue from gas tax, an alternative source of funding is definitely needed, but it's also important to consider the signal that is sent to the driver. And what I particularly think is reasonable about a user fee, not only that it's equitable based on how much we use, whatever it be, in this case, it's how much we drive, is that it sends a signal that more driving should cost more, because we have tremendous adverse health and environmental impacts. We know that car dependence is not a healthy thing. It's something that we are part of our culture, a very core part of our culture. But that's a bit of background for you.
Give us perspective how much you think it's going to cost per year for someone, because you know, there's some people going to be up in arms about this. They already are. But when you break down the numbers and the actual cost, how is that going to look? Has anybody done the math on this?
So that goes a little bit, there's a number, I think that's got to be part of the study. I don't mean to punt on that one, but I think that can be dialed up and down, and whether or not gas tax goes completely away, you know, how the two different revenue sources that we have for transportation are blended. But I think I've looked at one calculation is I think they're looking at 6 to 9 cents per mile, perhaps. And that could add up to an individual, this is just a calculation, $900 to $1,200 a year per person. But I really don't think those numbers are real. We shouldn't get into the details of that, because that is what the study is proposing to do and consider. So at this point, we really don't know the amount. But the basic principle that's important is that the more you drive, the more you would pay.
Which some people feel is unfair. And I've heard from folks who have said, are these the same people? Is this the same state that was encouraging everybody to go electric, to buy electric cars, and they're realizing, uh-oh, did they not see what was coming down the pike if everybody did what they said and get electric vehicles at the maybe the...
But that means if our primary source of funding is a gas tax and we have a lot of people driving electric vehicles, how could that possibly be fair? I mean, you know, what other commodity can you think of that's completely, no matter how much you use, you don't pay more for using more of it? It's just, we are culturally embedded in this car-oriented world that we live in, and so we just assume that it's a bit different. And the other things that we do, that we pay for based on how much we use, it's just different. I don't think it's any different. I think that we just need to learn the reality is that the more we drive and the more we use the system, the more we should pay for it. It's just, it's the only fair way, it's the fairest way that would be, you know, in terms of distributing the cost, of course, based on use. But there are some complexities to it. There are winners and losers. There's the ability to pay. The more disadvantaged people, financially strapped and so forth, could be priced off the road. That's a very serious issue about equity and a fairness that needs to be built into how much people pay, perhaps based on income. Could be possible for the lowest tier of our society to make sure that access is provided to opportunities, and also and maybe we can discuss what the revenue would be used for if you want.
All right, the bill passed and it passed the assembly, so we'll see what happens next. Professor, we thank you for the time. We'll maybe chat again.
Okay, thanks.